Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your TV sets on YouTube land. We're back for round 3.
Yeah,
I cannot ask for a better. When I branched out back to Ballerfin '85, it was the wife and I doing belt reviews, and I try to get friends to come in and do something. I still got a few other friends that I want to get their belts brought in. You were one of the top. I wanted to get you in as quick as possible because your belts, like I said in the last video, you are what I consider an elitist belt collector in this area. And I don't mean in this area like this little small one-horse town. I mean in the southeast of Georgia, in my opinion, from the middle down, maybe even closer to the top down. I'm not sure. I've never met anybody with a collection quite as refined as yours. Now, we know some real elitists who do nothing but collect Parks and J-Mars and Millikens and stuff like that. You've carved out your own little niche. You collect some really great belts. You take some really great pictures. You do magic with the pictures you take.
Thank you.
So I wanted to, when we first got together to do these videos, I wanted this to be the first video that I did and put out first. But then I got to thinking, I'm like, why give your Sunday before you eat your steak?
True.
So you kind of got to build into this. You got to have your feel of all the main course, and then you got to have the dessert.
True.
And my friend, this is the dessert. We've seen in the last 2 weeks, we've seen 2 of the best belts I've ever seen that I'm so glad, and thank you for bringing them over and letting me see.
Glad to do it.
But this belt right here, I still can't believe it's in the wrestling room right now. I still can't believe that you allowed me to even see it, because there are 2 makers that, of course, we knew growing up.
Yeah.
It was Reggie Parks and Dave Millican.
Yes.
So this belt was primarily made by Reggie Parks. When Dave came in, Dave kind of took up the slack and started making
sort of the
belts.
apprentice, the heir apparent, I guess.
So just by association, this belt, it's up there in the. It's just up there as far as one of the best belts you will ever be able to get. And if you're still waiting on this belt, you've probably been waiting on it now for about 10 years. I'm not even trying to joke or anything. I mean, it just is what it is at this point in time. If you've got an order out, you've probably been waiting for a while for it.
Very well.
Luckily, you found this on the secondhand market.
I did. And very fortunate in that aspect.
You got a really great price, and
I did.
I cannot believe you've got this belt. So now we have this belt, which is a quote-unquote real belt. No, there's no quote-unquote. It is a real belt. This is made by one of the premier makers in the United States, in the world. But not only do we have that, I've got a WWE shop version, and I just happen to have a boot. So I told Eric, since we reviewed this belt, and we're going to review it again, why not do a comparison between this WWE shop and an actual bootleg? So Eric sounded like Eric thought it was a pretty good idea, so without any further ado, we're going to go ahead. I want to break out the real one first, because the fact it's sitting under a table being kept away from you guys is killing me right now.
Yeah.
So without further ado, this is the Dave Milliken, the ace of belts. WWE, well, it's actually not logoed, but you know what we're talking about. This is the Winged Eagle.
Yeah, it is. Right here.
I feel like Wayne's World. I'm not worthy! I'm not worthy! Actually, it is logoed. It's the FWF. I completely forgot about this.
Yeah, it's the FWF logo.
It's the FWF logo on the side plates. It has no logo up top. This is the premier belt by the premier.
See if it'll sit up for us.
I might have a
there we go.
Stand if you need it. This is the premier belt by a premier maker. It doesn't get any better than this. Like, I feel if my YouTube channel stopped tomorrow, or actually not tomorrow, because we're doing this about 2 weeks in advance. So give me about 2 weeks, and then if my YouTube channel stopped, I think I would be happy by now. Yeah. I mean, you just don't get any better than having on the Ballerfin '85 table a Dave Milliken, the ace of belts, Winged Eagle. I mean, that's it. I'm retiring now. I'm even retiring from my job. I'm just going. I'm going to take this. Okay, I'm not going to take it. This is the Milliken Winged Eagle. you got anything you want to say about it? As far as you just found it on the secondhand market, found it at a pretty good price, and
contacted another.
Who'd you have to kill for? Is what I want to know.
I don't want to divulge any names. I don't know if you want me to put it out there or not. Not that he would.
The body was never found.
But I contacted a guy and I said, "Hey, do you have any Reggies or Daves that are not because of the way the secondhand market is, especially with the WWF logo?" I said, "Hey, I'm looking for one." I had seen one and I thought he may have had it, which was like either a non-logo or a crown logo. And I was like, "Hey, do you have a lead on one of these?" And he says, "Well, I've got two. I've got a Dave, and I've got a Reggie." And I said, "Well, I'll take the Dave." There's obviously price differences. I've never had a Reggie, any kind of Reggie Parks belt before. I've seen them. I've held them. Hogan's Beach Shop. I held the Hogan 86. It's pretty cool. Other than that, but I reached out to him. He said, "I've got it. This is what I want for it." I said, "Cool, let's do it." And a week later, it was in my hands.
And I still can't believe it was in your hands. So Dave Millican is considered the ace of belts. Like I said, like we said, he came in behind Reggie Parks. He kind of became the heir apparent. And then he was WWF's maker for a little while.
Long time, yeah.
I mean, it started off Reggie, or it went from Reggie to Dave, Dave to J-Mar, J-Mar to I can't.
Dave picked back up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He went. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dave's not only done for the WWF, WWE. He's done every promotion you could possibly ask for. Dave's done the AEW title. He's done the TNA title. He is by far probably the guy in the hobby, or probably the guy in belts right now. I mean, he doesn't do quite as much as he used to, if I'm not mistaken. But he's still the guy that you call when you need a belt. Reggie still kind of does stuff occasionally.
So
Dave's the guy.
Maybe semi-retired.
So you're seeing this. I'm going to flip this over because we've got the comparisons coming. But we're going to go ahead and get into a review of this. First off, one thing I remember whenever I saw this for the first time when we went and did the video.
Yeah.
How heavy this belt is for a winged eagle.
Deceivingly heavy.
Yeah, when you hold a WWE shop, it's about 5 pounds, 5.5 pounds, somewhere around there. This is easily way heavier than that. I mean, it's like you said, deceivingly heavy.
Yeah.
The plates are massively thick. This belt, if you were to look at it, like if you were to come up and look at it right now, the plates don't look outstandingly like massive as far as like size and stuff goes.
Mm-hmm.
The plates are thick, and this is real zinc, I would assume, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's zinc. Yeah,
it's. I still can't.
Zinc.
Yeah, I still can't get over how heavy this belt is.
Yeah.
I'm still wanting to soak this in, but I know we got a review.
No,
so I'm trying not to get drunk on my own. On this. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you just have to drink it in, man. No
drink it in, man.
From Chris Jericho there.
This has got to be like I know you got the big gold. The big gold is sentimentally probably your favorite belt just because of the fact it was an anniversary gift and everything.
Yes, for sure.
But this has got to be at the least tied.
So let me differentiate those two, and we used this I think on the previous video, and I keep using this word and I refer back to it, but I'll say it's iconic. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say bougie.
I am bougie, which is what we talked about earlier, but they're iconic in that when this belt debuted, I have a very, very clear memory of watching that main event whenever Hogan debuted this belt and the whole thing that happened with the two referees and all of that stuff, and then Hogan
the original twin magic.
Yeah, and all of that. And the first time I saw this belt, I was just absolutely just wow. I didn't know as a kid that maybe one day I would ever own one, but I just remember thinking at the time, I was like, you know what? When I'm an adult, I'm going to find a way to own one of these, and lo and behold, here we are. But that's the long way of saying this is my childhood. Like, some people don't understand for belt collectors and why belt collectors will pay what they pay for what they do. It has a lot to do with those memories and the sentimental value of the memories I have with my parents and us watching those events, sitting in the living room doing those things. And so this is my childhood. The Big Gold is also my childhood as far as, 605 Live and all that other stuff, with TBS and staying up really, really late night to be able to watch those graphics come on. And it's, the graphic of tracing the Big Gold belt and all those things. So that's also my childhood. The biggest difference is with the Big Gold. That particular Big Gold was an anniversary gift. So
this was an Eric Green gift.
Yeah, this was a gift to me, from me, because I love me. But so does my wife.
So those are some of the best gifts too.
They are. But I mean, it's for anybody that collects, there's a reason that they want it, and for me, this was my childhood. So
yeah. Every time I look at this belt, I see something new. Do you want to go ahead and get into it? Because
let's do it.
If I don't get into it, I'm literally going to just stammer for the rest of the day. Probably into the night. Probably tomorrow I'm still going to be sitting here looking at this talk and trying to figure out what I'm saying. So we're going over here to the male snaps. And it is 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 by 8 snap box. Now one thing that I got to bring up, because it's a Dave Millican belt. It's a Dave Millican strap. So one thing that you're going to see on the very tip is you're going to see that crafted by Dave Millican with that old ace on there.
There it is.
Just
the ace of belts.
Like you said last week that you've met superstars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you mark out on belts.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I'm not. I like meeting people, but the belts for me is like where it's at. So, no disrespect to the performers.
Yeah, so just seeing the fact this was handcrafted by Dave Millican, I almost got goosebumps. And I know, listen, I know what's going on in the belt hobby right now. I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for belts, and I know that's not right at all.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
But that does not take away from the fact that the guy is so good at making belts. Just to see that stamp. I mean, that of course, that's the signature.
Yeah. It's official. It's an official stamp.
Yeah, so that's something that's going to take you back. Because, again, like he said, this is our childhood. The fact he has a belt made by the person who made those belts. And I know Reggie for the most part, but you know what I mean. I mean, you've got that connection to that. You've got even more of a connection to your childhood than a ton of people just in this belt.
Yep. That's why this belt was important to me to be able to, because I think a lot of people, it gets lost in translation. Oh, it's just a belt. No, actually, it's the memories attached to it too. So.
And I gotta say, you're lucky and I'm lucky. Shout out to our wives, because it's hard to find somebody. And all right, we're nerds who love belts.
Yeah, belt nerds.
It is hard to find someone who can put up with that in the best way. And I don't mean put up with that in a derogatory word or a term. Not only did we find somebody, they encourage us. And that is...
Yours does.
Okay.
Mine encourages me with bodily harm if I decide to get another one. However, there are ways to negotiate. If I can find her a new camera or buy her a house, I can possibly have another belt. So that's probably what we're going to do.
See, I just bought Victoria a new steak dinner. We're steak eaters. We're so meat eaters.
She likes belts more than she'll let on.
That's how it is, ain't it?
It is.
That's really how it is. Like even Miss Battlefan 85 would come in here and be like, "Yeah, this is cool and everything, but it's just whatever." And the next day she'll go, "They gotta sell on belts. I want this." And I'll go, "Where are you? Who are you? And what did you do with my wife?"
Yeah, she doesn't. She's not a collector like Miss Ballerfine is, but she knows. Like,
I mean,
she'll say things about them too. She'll be like, "Hey, that's a pretty cool belt," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Can I have it? No." But hey, you never know. You should always ask, right?
I mean, you're looking right over here. We have 2 different AEW titles on 2 different straps. I mean, that's Miss Ballerfine 85 right there.
Yeah, his and hers right there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So this isn't. We talked last week about the Max Headroom pixelations.
Yeah.
This isn't that. This is that. I cannot remember what you call this texture, but I love this texture too. It's just where you take that little bit of a pop and put it in there. It's very shallow. Now, one thing I'll say about this, you've got the Dave Millican. A lot of people complain on the WWE shop Winged Eagles that you get the WWE logo.
Yeah.
What they don't realize is the WWF logo is very hard to come by now. I mean, you can't, even on a Dave Millican, you've got to spend an exorbitant amount of money to get the WWF logo.
Yeah, secondhand for sure, whether it's Dave or Reggie right now, WWF is very, very hard to come by.
So unless you get a boot, and we'll get into the details between this and a boot, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, there's big differences. If you want the cream of the crop, yeah, this is the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
No matter what I think of boots, what I think of certain makers, if you want the best, you got to get the best. You know what I mean? Anything else is just settling.
Agreed.
So with that being said, I with the WWE shop, you're getting a WWE logo. If you want to pay exorbitant amounts of money, then you get the WWF. This is the FWF. Now, this is, if I was going to get any WWF, I don't want to say knockoff, variant.
Variant, yeah.
I'd get the FWF because it is close enough to the WWF logo that you can kind of pass it off. I mean, from afar. You know what I mean? So in the snap box, you have that FWF logo. And again, it's just like a WWF mirrored. It's like two sides of a mirror. You've got this side and this side. So I can deal with that.
There were a couple of different versions. This is I think this is, from my understanding, is a later modified version. There was the first.
I was going to say this does look modified because it didn't come all the way up to the F.
No, it looked more like, some people will say, the Wonder Woman version. You can Google that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It does kind of look like either Wonder Woman or Whataburger. Take your pick.
That was the other one too. Okay.
So you can look at that, but this is closer in that instead of the W being a W, they turn it into an F.
So, excuse me. I promise you, I'm not yawning because of the belt. This is fire. Excuse me. I don't know if
life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I say this all the time, but we've got a baby now, and you can ask him. We come in here, and all of a sudden, which our daughter goes crazy. I brought her in here to the belt room a while ago, and she was just looking everywhere. Yeah. She actually really liked your national title.
Yep.
So coming over here, you've got your, and one thing I really enjoy about the clamshell tooling, sometimes there seems to be two different sizes. You either have a really small clamshell tooling or really big. And you know what the clamshell always reminds me of? You're from the South, so you understand. The clamshell has always reminded me of palmetto leaves.
100%. I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so you have Georgia palmettos and you have Florida palmettos. So I consider this a Florida palmetto because the Georgias are a little bit smaller and the Floridas are way out there. So this is kind of bigger. I don't think this is average size. I think this is slightly bigger than average.
Yeah, this is a little different. On the big gold, it's not as... This is bigger than what's on the big gold.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Coming into the first main plate, if you've seen a Winged Eagle before, you know what's going on. You've got your grapplers. You've got... To me, it's like... you remember those 70s clips where you have a person and then you have the thing that pops out on both sides, like the reflection almost kind of.
Yeah. This
is kind of what it reminds me of. You've got, it's not a reflection, of course, but it's like a spotlight coming behind them.
Yeah.
And you've kind of shot them.
Sort of illuminated, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So you've got that going on. What's not to say about these side plates? You've got all gold on your side plates for the most part. There's no color. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll let you decide on that. I love the fact this was the first belt I ever saw that it was a legit trophy belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to have way more gold on it because it's a trophy belt. This is not the big gold. I mean, you've got some contrast in the main plate, but for the most part, your side plates are going to be all gold.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your grapplers, and they're just doing their thing down there. I love the ornateness. Yeah, I love the ornateness on both sides. You've got your little design on each side. Coming in here to the other side plate, they're doing the tie-up. Again, you got your FWF logo, and just your ornateness. These are thick plates, by the way. These are way thicker than I would have thought had I not seen. Had I not seen it in person, I wouldn't have thought. When you think 4mm, you think. And here's the thing, and I'm sure you figured this out by now too. 4mm nowadays is a generic term.
It is.
You've got 2mm, which is going to be paper thin. Probably 2 to 3mm, you're going to consider 2mm.
A lot of your older replicas, when they first came out, your WWF shop replicas were all 2mm stamped plates.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was the bee's knees when they came out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I got the Undisputed right there. That was the very first, and it was 2mm.
Yeah, and so now, I think that was the biggest thing with a lot of people is, well, the replicas they're not really as close to the real thing. Now these replicas.
Oh my God, they're way closer to the
generations
real thing. And shout out to WWE Shop. Now they're doing, and WWE Shop now their newer belts have kind of a 3D thing going on to where they're preventing bootmakers from making great copies. Like you saw the WWE United States Championship, the new one. Yeah, that protrudes so much. You're not getting a bootleg anywhere near the quality of that U.S. title.
Not an accurate.
Not at all. I mean, they're forcing you to go to WWE Shop, and you know what? I'm fine with that because I've got this new United States Championship, and I'm in love with it. It is one of the best replicas out there. Same with the cruiserweight and all that. Mm-hmm. But we're not talking about those belts. We're talking about the Dave Millican Wing Deagle. Yeah. So we're going into the main plate. The biggest difference between this and WWE Shop, and until I saw yours and held yours, I didn't know how much of a difference it made, was the sidebars.
Yes.
So on WWE Shop, the sidebars, they're not attached to the main plate. They're their own separate plate, I guess you call it. I mean, they're not plates, but you know what I mean. They're on their separate
piece. It's part of the presentation, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The original Winged Eagle, these are made into it. These are welded on there. And for some reason, I don't know why WWE Shop couldn't just do that. But at the same time,
I'm pretty sure it was a cost.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be.
Yeah.
To have them attached to the main plate, oh, it's so good.
Man, I mean, it's a game changer. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, because when they're not attached to the main plate, it makes the strap stiffer in a way. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring it out now. This is the WWE Shop. I know we're reviewing this. We'll go ahead and get into the details. Let me go ahead and show you just how. So you've got this is your WWE Shop, and you see these right here. I mean, they just bend with it. They seem to make the strap a little bit stiffer. When we do this, look at that. That's like meat falling off the bone of a rib. I mean, that is just amazing right there. So that's the biggest detail when a lot of people buy from WWE Shop. That's the one thing everybody. Well, the plate, the bars aren't attached, all this that, and the other. And that's. I'll be honest. That's one of the reasons a lot of people buy boots of the Winged Eagle. Mm-hmm. First off, you're not getting the WWF logo. Second off, and you can even see the space right here. I mean, it's not even close to what it is on the actual thing. That's another reason a lot of people go to boots. I love the fact those bars are attached, and I love the fact, like, I mean, literally, the bars right here, they go in. They're probably about that far. What, 2 inches maybe?
Yeah.
You've got your contrast. Now on this Dave Millican, you've got your FWF logo everywhere else, but up here it's kind of blank. And you know what? That is fine. I'm honestly cool with that. You have, I'm sure you've seen the pictures recently, or not recently, it's been within the last couple of years of WWE. They brought back some of the classic titles to let people take pictures, to let some of the superstars take pictures with.
Yeah,
they had
Roman Reigns, I remember for sure.
So they had, their main plate did not have the WWF logo.
Yeah, they photoshopped that out.
Yeah, so actually you have a more accurate now to the Winged Eagle from WWE. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe I should, break that tip off right there.
Yeah.
So, it could be a little bit more similar. But.
Yeah. Wasn't it on the, it was on the right side, right? Or was it on this side? Okay.
Right here.
Another thing I do like about this belt, let me see. No, the leather, I love the leather cut on this Milligan, where you have the wings that protrude a little bit over the snap, or over the strap, not snap. That's always something I really liked it about the national title. where you had the wings that just protruded above the strap. I really enjoy that. You've got your blue, and this is, I love the blue on the globe. Anything that has a globe where the globe is blue, I love it. Like, you've got your TV title back here, your big eagle. Anywhere where you have that in the middle of the plate, where you have that contrast, I'm completely down for.
Yeah, I love the globes.
Now, when you have your Milliken, one of the things you're getting is detail. Look at all the detail in these wings, in these feathers. I'm really enjoying that, all the way down to the tail. You've got a lot of texture. I don't think I've ever even noticed the texture in the tail down here at the bottom.
One of the things that stuck out to me, and we talk about the differences, and we'll probably get into this, but I want to touch on it, is this particular area of the belt is, again, I'm very picky, so I'm artwork and those kind of things.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just trying to put everything over, but as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, here it comes.
But there are some variances because of the different logos and those kind of things. So there were some differences in the artwork. Some people think, oh, well, the artwork is different than what you'd see on a WWF. That's true. Reggie had some variations. I think Dave did too. But this is one of the details, is in the tail area. We won't necessarily get into all of that right now. We can probably touch on that later. But
it's textured.
It's
kind of like your big gold last week. There's
a little bit of texture in there. Artwork is different also. I look for things like that. I look at the artwork. I look at specifically the tail, where the tail feathers are. You see those things, and you can tell whether or not you can tell what artwork somebody was using. So,
well, this one's shaking its tail feathers. We'll go ahead and say that.
It's very detailed. It's very detailed.
So, I love the fact, and I'm just trying to. We're going to get into the details in the differences later. You got your globe on each side. That's always something that not many people see. You've got 3 globes on this main plate. You've got the one in the middle. You've got one on each side of Wrestling Champion. And again, you've got Wrestling Champion. You don't have Wrestling Champion. Like
right.
Yeah.
I'm not a champion. I'm a champion, so that's all right.
That's probably my favorite funny story in the hobby.
I think
as
so.
far as that. But just the detail in the wings. You've got your grapplers on each side. You've got your floral arrangement, and again, you've got these attached. You've got the bars attached to the main plate, and that is awesome. Another thing I love about this main plate is that curve. I don't know if you guys can see this curve. Look at this. I mean, I can almost put my whole hand up under here. I can put my whole hand up under here.
Yeah,
that is something.
Have a field day under there.
Yeah, if you get a winged eagle, to me you've got to have that curve.
Yeah,
that's one thing WWE shops lacks. Now we've seen some belts that have got WWE shop knows how to do a curve.
There are some with good curves.
They know how to do a curve.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they utilize it on every belt? In my opinion, that would make this one pop way more if it's got that good curve to it. Because I mean, you're looking at a pancake next to just this amazing curve.
Yeah. Now I will say, just as an aside for this, for people that don't want to spend money like this, there are people out there that can take your bars and they can curve that main plate for you, and they can attach that bar. They have a way of doing it. I've seen some people have them re-leathered and have that done, and that really also makes a world of difference too. And that aspect.
I don't think I've really.
It's really cool. It looks good. I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple for sale that have been re-leathered, and they're really cool. Obviously, it's not exactly like a real belt, but when you see those sidebars attached, it gives it a different presentation, and it's a lot closer to the original. And for the money and for what it is, to get somebody to do that is not. It's not expensive. It's not out of the realm of having something like that done. So, maybe an option for some people.
Oh yeah. You have also one of my favorite leather cuts on the Winged Eagle. Now, one thing that most people don't know, there was, I want to say several leather cuts.
Yeah, several.
You have my favorite. There's some that are way more rounded up here, and they kind of border right up to the main plate on the bottom. Yours is almost perfect. Like I said, you have the tips of the wings that go just past it, just past the strap. You have enough space down here at the bottom. This is probably my favorite cut of leather for this Winged Eagle.
Yeah, I loved it when I first saw it. I was like, oh man, that's...
Because I wasn't a big fan. Let me see if I can... Yeah, like this right here. I'm not a huge fan of this leather cut. You know what I mean?
I believe that was the most popular, same as this one, most popular. And I didn't really realize it. Shout out to Hazard again.
Third week in a row, Hazard F5, dude.
He's such a treasure trove of knowledge, but he's done the comparisons and he's done his homework and all that stuff, and until he pointed it out, I didn't really realize the most utilized one is, more of a round cut.
Mm-hmm.
In my brain, I always remembered this tighter cut, which
especially
I think
with that broke wing tip like you was talking about.
Yeah, which I think that one now has a little bit more of a round cut.
I have to go back and look.
Yeah, I have to look at it, but
yeah.
And I want to say this wasn't utilized very much. I think it was for a short amount of time. Maybe Shawn Michaels would have had one that was like
that's
this.
what I kind of remember.
Where it was cut a little tighter in that area for the wings to poke up just enough to be past the leather. And that was always my favorite version. So when I got it, I was like, home run. Loved it.
Oh, definitely.
Because again, I think it's just one of those things that lends to just the overall presentation of the belt itself to me. So that was a perk, I guess.
So yeah, the curve's good. Coming over here to the other side plates, again, these are basically the same side plates. Yep, they're the same side plates, but I got to talk long enough to where I can put my B-roll in here and talk about it. So I do love the fact, and I'm trying to look right here. Yeah, the side plate's okay. The side plates over here, you've got a little bit of a curve on that. I don't think I ever really paid too much attention to the curve on
the
that
outside curve.
until I got this boot that I'm going to bring up here in a little bit. But yeah, over here, I've always loved the points on each side plate.
Yeah.
It's not quite as big, it's not quite like the Big Eagle where it'll, give you stitches or something like Stone Cold did. But I really do love it. And again, you've got the FWF logo. And I don't think I ever noticed the variation. You said you had the original. I remember the original Wonder Woman logo, like you said.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Different.
I didn't realize that there was a change in the logo.
Yeah.
So, coming over here to the very last plate, before we get to the property plate, again, it's your same thing. It's kind of hard, one thing, and I'm sure you get this a lot, when you're trying to give a detail on a belt, when each side is the same, it's kind of hard to keep saying about something. But they're great plates. Again, these are thick. These are way thicker than I thought they would have been. And again, that weight in this belt always surprises me. The first time I held this belt, I remember going, good night.
It's deceptively heavy.
Yeah,
it really
is very deceptively heavy. You've got a property plate over here. And you know what? I thought this was... This is 2 millimeter. And that kind of reminds me of the WCWS title. The 5-plater, which is actually 6-platers. The very 6th plate was a property plate, and whereas all your other plates were 4 millimeter, the property plate was 2 millimeter. So I guess this is something... This is kind of just like your... just that little button, I guess. On there. You don't have to have a 4 millimeter plate.
No.
On everything.
This is the more ring accurate, I think, was a 2 millimeter.
And with your border around it, it kind of does make it look 4 millimeter in a way.
Yeah, it's just another one of those details that in the overall presentation of the belt, it's more of to add to the belt, not to be a featured part of the belt. If you look at the rest of the belt is the feature. Right, as far as the presentation goes, and it's just kind of that little... It's
kind of like a reverse belt buckle.
Yeah.
I've always called it that, because you have everything up here, you got to have a plate right back there. It's kind of like a belt buckle for your crack, I guess.
Yeah, so...
Might as well go there.
Might as well, yeah.
Coming over here to the other... I'll never look at the same now. I should have never said that. Coming back over here, you've got... Again, I love this tooling. This probably... I know I said the pebble tooling was probably one of my favorites. This is the tooling I always remember growing up. Yeah. Just that. And again, I don't remember the name of it. All you do is take a little bevel, give a little whack, put just a little bit of an indentation in there. This is also 2x123, 2x5 snap box, and you've got your FWF logo in here. Now, one thing I will say about this tip, this is the way tips should be. I've seen a lot of tips that are very gaudy, that are very huge, and they probably take up half the weight of the belt.
Yeah.
And if you wear them the wrong way, they will make you celibate. I mean, they will hit the boys hard. These things right here hurt. This actually feels more this doesn't feel like just big and bulky. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's not a.
even that's not bad. I've got a couple over here that just feel like they're 3 inches too big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's proportionate to the belt. It's not.
Yeah, by a long shot, it's perfect. So we're gonna come to the backing, and again, you've got Dave Milliken. Oh, before we get to the backing, check out this Dave Milliken leather right here. I mean, again, I said it a while ago. This is meat falling off a rib bone. Just amazing. I mean, I cannot get over. I still think your top rope belts had the best leather.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, this is right up there. This is just nostalgia for me. The fact that I'm holding a Dave Milliken leather strap. Don't get me wrong, it's still great. But I think I love the top rope belts a little bit better.
Yeah.
So coming to the backing actually feels a little thicker. I think this feels like a thicker backing that goes on there.
It's a little bit different, yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. It feels more secure.
It's thicker,
more secure.
Yeah, it's thicker than our top rope belts. It is thicker because that's closer to a JMAR version, leather cut and those kind of things. Dave always used, and Reggie I guess uses thicker leather. I guess when you have sweaty guys running around throwing your belts
in baby oil and all that.
Yeah, you have to have something that's going to last. So the quality of the leather always made a difference.
And also take a look at this. This is just how good the leather is. I mean, it just folds in on itself if you want. I mean, that's just crazy. So, all in all, this is probably, again, for nostalgia's sake, this is a Dave Milliken winged eagle.
Yeah.
It does not get better than this. So with that being said, we've got this, and we're probably going to we're not going to take up too much more of your time, but I definitely got to do this. So you've got your Dave Milliken right here. WWE owns, well, they don't own the rights to the winged eagle.
No.
They do own their WWF logo.
Yeah.
So they are able to license through Dave or through Reggie, probably both of them. They probably have a deal together.
I think that deal is expired as far as the WWF.
Well, I'm talking about WWE in general to make replicas.
To make oh yeah, for that, yes, absolutely. There is a deal in place for that.
Okay, and it's probably, I would assume through Dave.
I think maybe they went through Dave this time.
Maybe through Reggie.
Yeah.
So this is the OG. This is it. I mean, they brought these up. So with this spawned this. This is your replica belt. And if you notice, first off, this is a shop strap. So you see it's basically, shop straps are pretty stiff. So we're not even going to judge it based on strap. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They sit up about the same height. Actually, I think this leather cut makes this a little bit taller. Or that's at least how it looks from here.
Yeah, it looks like it just simply because...
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
So getting into it, you already see the darker tint. You know, I don't know if I remember the gold being this dark on the winged eagle.
Yeah, the shop belts, the color of the gold on the shop belts has varied over the years. This is a little darker.
So they tend to be a little bit darker. Again, your bars up here are not attached as opposed to this. And just in general, don't get me wrong, for the price you get of this winged eagle, it's worth having. Trust me, I love having it on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this though. But I would definitely, depending on where you go, I'm pretty much winging this. I'm at the point now, I'm trying to figure out where we're going with this. We're just, you know what, it's a winged eagle party. I know Young Bucks have a super kick party, we're having a winged eagle party.
Yeah. And so, a party like an eagle party.
So we're going to kind of go ahead. These are the 3 winged eagles we have. I'll let you guys figure out which ones you like just based on this. But I want to do a side-by-side comparison based on everything. Now with this, I'm going to go ahead and be honest. I didn't realize just how... So with this Milliken, alright, we've had fun with this. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to let the kids go to bed. Okay, this is a WWE shop. This is going to be a basic stiff strap. Your bars aren't going to be attached. It's a great collector's piece, don't get me wrong.
For what it is, for the money, I don't think it's a bad investment.
Yeah, at all. And you know what? Honestly, depending on if you get a boot and where you get it from, I'd recommend this over a boot any day. Because you are not going to beat a Milliken. I mean, this is the happy median.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might as well, for a fan that wants a good belt at a cheap price, this is it. Now, we're going to put this down. I've covered plenty of shop winged eagles. I got to get into this because I kept wondering so this is a boot made. Okay, I'm sorry. We got laundry going on apparently. This is a boot. This is made by Ibrahim Belts. I don't know if you've really heard of them.
Seen the names, but I've never seen their work before until now.
I won this in a raffle, and I kept wondering when I held this for the first time. When you hold a WWE shop, you know what you're getting. It's going to be a lighter belt.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's probably going to be weigh about 5 pounds. So after holding yours, whenever I decided, and I've always wanted a dual-plated winged eagle in the collection, so I think I won it in a raffle, and this was one of the choices. I said, listen, I want a winged eagle, I want a dual-plated. I've already got 2. This completes. This is Pokemon. I've caught them all now with the winged eagle. So when I got this belt, I remembered holding yours. And I remembered how heavy it was, and I knew with WWE shop that wasn't going to happen. Right. So I said, okay, when I got a boot, this has got to be as close as it gets to a real thing. So when I held it, I was a little bit disappointed because it was nowhere near as heavy as yours. Now that I'm looking side by side, I'm seeing why. And I don't know if you've noticed this or not. So I'm going to move this. Sorry, I'm trying not to.
No, go ahead.
Alright, so check out the plates right here compared to the plates right here. I mean, I can't get over what the big difference. I mean, just look at how thick these bars are right here compared to these. This is hefty. Whippy.
Yeah.
So
the gauge of the size of the side
yeah,
bars
they're
is
definitely
different.
a lot smaller.
The attached bars are smaller.
Compared to this, I would almost consider this 2mm, and I know this is supposedly.
It's probably closer to 3.
I'd say 3.
This is like an in between.
I would definitely
so I don't
say
think
3.
It's 2, but I know it doesn't really look like it's 4 either.
No, it's definitely not 4. But the first thing I noticed right off the bat were these bars were much smaller, and I guarantee you that's some good weight.
That's part of the weight because those bars go so far back under the main.
So I don't know if you've held this or not, but you can feel the difference just in how light it is.
Yeah, and it is definitely the main plate for sure, I think.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
You know, side plates, they're thicker, they're heavy, but it's really, I think, the majority of it's the main plate.
So I do like the fact that, of course, your bars are going to be attached on this belt. I do love the fact, and it looks like their font's a little wrong too. These globes look way bigger than these globes.
The artwork being a little bit different.
Yeah,
we talked about differences in artwork, but this is one of those things that we talk about.
Yeah, with boots, you're definitely going to have your artwork's going to be off.
Like
yeah.
that, yeah.
But as far as
that even looks like a bigger main plate.
I think it is, as a matter of fact. You know what? I'll be honest. I like the fact that the plate may be a little bit bigger because I always thought the winged eagle was a little bit undersized.
Yeah.
But
as compared to the IC, a lot of people
compared to the IC.
Yeah.
But as far as comparing this belt to this belt, there are some definite inaccuracies. With this belt, now don't get me wrong, I was not expecting a work of art, and there are some things I think I do like a little bit better. No, there's not. Excuse me. I can't look at a Milliken and say there are things I like about this that I don't like about this, because this is the Milliken. This is the granddaddy of all granddaddies. This belt right here is probably telling this belt right now to sit down, shut up, and listen, because I got some stuff to tell you. I've seen things. So yeah, I actually do think, but see, you're Reggie. I'm loving the fact you've got that leather cut. See what I mean right here with the leather cut, where it's just barely up under the main plate.
Cut.
I'd much rather have that one.
You're right. This one's not as tight on the bottom. It's tighter on the top here. but more of a rounded off bottom, which is what you see with a lot of the older versions.
I think we got a storm coming in.
Yeah, there's a storm. There might be a hurricane coming through. It's not a hurricane.
Stand back!
But it's a hurricane reference. But the leather cut's definitely different. That's a much tighter leather cut.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot, and this is stuff I know a lot of people tell you not to buy boots because here's the deal. Sometimes inaccuracies don't bother me because I want to put something on a wall. I want to put something on the wall that reminds me of my childhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
But looking at this compared to this, I'm definitely seeing differences in artwork. It's kind of crazy, and I'm kind of glad that we've got a real one with a boot.
It's hard to unsee.
It really is. I mean, the only plus that I'll say over this, I do like the fact that the plate is just that much a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of. This is kind of crazy. Let me turn this around, and trust me, the B-roll will show you guys without even getting into. So, sorry.
We'll set it around like this. Let's see if we can set it up like that.
So I'm going to go ahead. I do love the tool in your snap box.
Yeah.
Because if you look at this one, this is about as basic. And see, I don't mind putting this on the table.
Could be a stamp, maybe.
Oh, this is definitely a stamp. I've yet to get, aside from my belts, they do their hand tool and snap boxes.
Yeah, that was really good. The Big Eagle.
That was actually a different one. They did the TV title, the U.S. title. The Big Eagle was shout out to Jamil Suluri. But yeah, this is stamped. Compared to that, I love that tool in that snap box.
Yeah.
Your WWF champion, WWF world champion over here. Of course, they're not going to make this a 2mm because they, being a boot, they want to make everything 4mm.
Everything's the same size.
Yeah. So I love the fact that you actually have a little bit of a discrepancy right here with a 2mm plate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So coming into the back, and now I'm not going to lie, I do not like this leather over Milliken's. But when you have this compared to this, it is great to have real leather.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
And I'll say this is, I don't want to say beef jerky. There's a little bit of ply to it, but it is kind of like a little bit of a burnt rubbery jerky. I'll say that. There's some ply to it. It's rubbery. But
it's not a shop strap, but it's not going to be...
Yeah, I'd rather have this strap over a shop strap any day. But when it comes to that,
it's two different things. Now I will say, don't get me wrong, I like Milliken.
It's not necessarily
he's not necessarily known for his leather work so much as he is being able to get those classic things out that we love. His leather work's not bad. I don't mean that, but it's not. There's some really good leather people out there. So you can, and obviously this is handmade, so you can see some little things you look at and go, oh. But, leather being what it is, it's not bad leather. I love the top row belt leather.
Oh, definitely.
Eddie did a great job. Shout out to Eddie. He's pretty good at what he does. But when you look at just the thickness of the leather and how it's cut and the angles, the way it's cut.
Yeah, there's a lot more
That's
angular.
not horrible leather. So I think when people look at it and go, oh, well, that's a boot. Well, yeah, it is, but it's not.
We're not entirely crapping on it as far as...
No.
It's not the worst in the world. We've seen some bad leather.
I've seen
some terrible leather.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, this over this, I'm going to pick this. Plate size, this over this, I'm going to pick this. There's a few... Now, you don't have your gold tip on this. Again, your property plate's going to be 4mm because boot makers, like we just said, uniformity, everything's going to be 4mm.
Everything is.
I don't think I ever noticed the fact that there was a 2mm property plate up until Conrad's video on the U.S. top, where he talked about the 4mm and then the property plate was a 2mm.
Yeah.
Actually, I really like that feature. These bars, when you look at a Dave Millican belt, these bars are massive. Holding this bar together with this bar compared to this, and it could just be because I've only seen this now. Those are massive bars, and like we said, that's where most of your weight's coming from. The artwork, like you said, your only discrepancy is around the tail.
Well, there are some telltales. If you're looking to tell what's a boot and what's not, one of the easiest places that you can tell is those tail feathers. There's a lot of texture here. There's a lot of detail. If you look at...
I don't think this maker did too terrible on the tail.
So for example, and again, I'm a stickler for details and for etching and for all of those things. Again, I'm picky. It's just me. But if you look at the detail here, where a lot of bootmakers make it just straight lines.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that when bootmakers do this, to me, in my untrained eye with some of this, this is more reminiscent of, if you guys have ever seen the Master Series Winged Eagle, you know what I'm talking about, how the tail feathers there are different. And this is the same thing. So this is more the TV ring used version is what you're going to see on the Millikens and Reggies and stuff like that. The Master Series, I think, is maybe where some of them pulled that from, and so it's just straight lines, and there's not the same kind of detail that you see here.
Mm-hmm.
I know that this is also a difference. These lines on a Reggie, a WWF version,
Like
comes down. Yeah, like you see how you have that here.
Yeah.
Mine stops here, but it's a variation in the art.
Mm-hmm.
Of how it's made and the different arts that Reggie would use to just put some differences in some of his belts. He had a lot of variations of the artwork itself.
Oh yeah, just like there were strap differences, there are plenty of plate differences.
Yeah, so some of the artwork is different. You look at, you know, like the floral designs and stuff like that, but again, it's just it's an artwork thing.
I'm gonna be honest. One thing that I just noticed that I hate. Check this out. Very top compared to that. Actually, that is nice. This feels like it'll knock you out if you got hit right. That is actually...
That looks like T-Rex fingers.
Yeah, or a fire flower from Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of covered everything that I wanted to cover. This didn't go quite the way I thought as far as the comparison goes, but that's because I'm just in awe. Like, let me be honest. The Winged Eagle, in my opinion, in the years that I've been in the belt hobby, has kind of become a little played out.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I know this is blasphemous, but you've seen so many Winged Eagles and so many, even big goals to an extent. But it has completely played itself out as far as I actually welcome sometimes new belts. I couldn't wait for the AE dub, and I'm sure here in a couple of years that's going to be absolutely played out. But the Winged Eagle was our childhood for so long, and then you get into a hobby that you love, and everybody's got a Winged Eagle, and there's only so many different ways you can do the Winged Eagle that it's just kind of, I'm happy, and trust me, Dave Millican, that Winged Eagle, I'll never get tired of seeing. But it's like I walk in here, and those don't catch my eye near as much as they used to. You know what I mean? Like, they're Winged Eagles. I know it's there. I don't have that boyhood dream like Shawn Michaels sitting on his knees looking at it anymore. I hate that. Don't get me wrong.
Another good moment, yeah.
But I think I've kind of touched on everything I wanted to as far as the Winged Eagles. You got anything else you want to say as far as anything?
No, not really. No.
I'm sorry, I'm coughing. I don't have COVID. I don't know if you know this. If you talk a lot, your throat gets dry.
So very much. Very much so.
Well, that being said, I think that's everything for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
I got some pizza in there I wouldn't mind eating. I got to get some B-roll going on.
I like pizza.
And, hey, how about that? Ninja Turtle style.
Yeah, there we go.
Right there.
Pizzas.
Turtle power, baby. It's raining. We might not get any photography done today, but we might see. We'll see.
You never know. It could blow through. We could.
Yeah, it might. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe. I really enjoyed this 3 weeks with you.
Same.
And hopefully the next belt I get or the next belt you get, maybe we can get right together.
Yeah, it'd be super.
Either over there or over here, and
Yeah,
we can knock out a review. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will catch you guys down the road.
See you guys.